Hey, good people. How are you doing today? So glad to be here with you yet again. Let's see, are we all set? Looks like it. All right, welcome to Coffee Time Career Chat. So, my name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor and empowerment coach and authentic networking strategist, which means I love working with people as they are striving to achieve their big goals, their next level thing, particularly when it comes to their careers and their business. And I help them to do that in a very empowered way while leveraging one of their most valuable resources, which are professional relationships, but to do so in an authentic way and very purposefully. All right. So thanks for joining. If this is your first time Coffee Time Career Chat, hope you enjoy it. We are finishing up a series on transitions. We've been focused on transitions this month. And this is the last full one. On the final Monday, I'll be answering some questions related to transitions. So if you have any questions, please submit them to me in the comments or in the DMs. If you want to keep it private, I will do so without revealing any sources or anything like that. The whole point is to be able to leverage. We talk a lot about leveraging here, but leverage the fact that we have an extra Monday this month. And so I'm going to use it to answer questions instead that's been related to the question, to the this month's topic. All right. So today we are talking about transitions are full of opportunities and how you need to leverage the time and the resources. Now, here's the other thing that we make sure to do during each one of these was what's the empowered action? And I like to lay that out up front so that it doesn't get lost on the back end. And the empowered action, when you are talking about transitioning with these opportunities and leveraging them, is to make sure that you speak up for what you want and need during this time. And that's something that goes out throughout the entire piece, right? But specifically when it gets to these fresh opportunities that will show themselves in the midst of a transition. I will talk about that a little bit at the end about why it's so important to make sure that you speak up for yourself. Okay, so here's the thing. Somebody might be saying, what kind of opportunities are showing up in the middle of a major transition, right? And here's most of the time, there are so many, but we're caught up in either the transition itself, particularly if it's a difficult one, right? We're caught up in all the things and all the chaos and all the disruptive things. But this is that point where it's really important to step back and remember reflection, and always kind of take that, what's going on around you type of perspective as opposed to being in it. Sometimes it's good to be in the moment, but when you're going through transition times, especially if it's a difficult one, then what you really want to do is, be aware and be conscious enough to step aside and kind of look at things very objectively. And when you do that, you will be amazed at the opportunities that you can see that arise during that time. So what kind of opportunities are we talking about? Well, they're the opportunity to develop new or fresh relationships, or even to renew some relationships. This is one of the key resources of all times. Y'all know how I feel about building professional relationships and networking. But in the midst of transitions, this is crucial because most of the time, the relationships that people are leveraging and needing to utilize in order to get to their goal, get to the next level thing they're pursuing, is by the relationships they have or the relationships they are creating in the process. And so as you're looking to move forward in the next level of your career, the next level of your business, it's not just important to say, hey, go talk to the people you already know about what it is you're trying to do. But who can you talk to anew? Who can you talk to that you don't have a relationship with yet, but that you can build because it's relevant to what it is you're trying to do and where you're trying to go? And I know for some of you, this makes you uncomfortable, especially if you say, oh, I'm an introvert. This has nothing to do with how you spend your energy per se, whether you're an introvert or extrovert. This has everything to do with what your goal is. Okay. So, whatever your goal is, you are going to want and need some new relationships in order to push it forward. One of the perfect examples is one of my clients who has been who is shifting and still in the midst of shifting major in her career, like changing industries and topics with whatever she's doing, right? So, still utilizing her skill set, but shifting where she's using it. And that meant she didn't know anybody in this new industry that she wanted to, like maybe a little bit here and there, but she had to be very, very deliberate. And we'll talk about that, about what she did in order to pursue those relationships, identify them, and then to move forward with them and help let them build that momentum in the transition that you need to move forward. So that's one of the opportunities. Another opportunity, a second opportunity, is the opportunity to learn new skills or new hobbies. And I know sometimes people are like, why is she talking about hobbies? I am a huge, huge fan of hobbies because, especially when you're in the midst of transitioning or up leveling or whatever, making major shifts, you need an outlet. You need an outlet to help take the pressure off. And so during a transition, it's an opportunity to do that both with your skills, your professional skills that you'll utilize moving forward, as well as just interests and hobbies, showing that, hello, you're a regular, normal person. You got a life, right? And you need that. And guess what? While you're pursuing those new skills, while you're pursuing those new hobbies in particular, you will meet new people. And even if they are not directly linked to the next level thing you're wanting to do, remember you have something in common with them because you're both moving towards this goal of acquiring this new skill, of engaging in this new hobby. Okay. And the more new people that you can bring in, and we'll talk about why this is important in just a second, that expands your perspective, which is always going to be helpful to you in transitioning. It gets you outside of your box. Okay. And the last one is slightly related, but is different. And I've referenced it with my client, is to pursue different interests. Here's the opportunity to pursue different interests. So if you've been saying, I really am thinking about going out on my own and, starting my own business, this is an opportunity to pursue that. If you're like, I'm in this field and I think I've maxed out there and I would like to move forward into something else, this transition time is the opportunity to do it. Okay. So tons of opportunities. You have to leave yourself open to them and to pursue them. Now, let's say, okay, fine, we got these opportunities. I'm writing down these different things that are kind of popping up for me and that I can kind of see, but like, what do I do with this stuff? Right? How do I leverage it? Because that's the second thing you have to do. You have to leverage these opportunities. And what do I mean by leverage? That means you have something and you kind of play something off of each other, right? In order to help you boost you to that next level, to that next thing. So how do you do that? You have to be very deliberate and intentional with your actions. This is not the time for willy-nilliness. Okay. Yeah, that's a word. I made it up. This is not the time to be willy-nilly. This is the time to be very thoughtful about what you want to do, because especially if you've got a big goal or a big jump that you're trying to make in your business or your career, You don't have time for, I wonder if this will work, or I wonder if that will work, right? That's not to say you don't explore those things, but you're being very deliberate. You're not going to go try 10 new things when you could focus on 2 or 3 and really get some traction and get some momentum going. That's what I mean about being deliberate, okay? And so you can combine your efforts and your interests, right? You know, when you're going to a happy hour and you're like, okay, you could go to the same old happy hour, or you could go to a new one, hook up with somebody in a new field and go tag along with them to that, right? You're going to happy hour anyways. Why not go with someone who's attending something in the new field that you want to, right? That's leveraging. When you're building these new relationships or renewing relationships, again, go grab coffee. They're like, hey, some of us are meeting up for lunch. Would you like to come? Sure. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Okay. Because it's an ideal opportunity to get exposed to, again, more people by utilizing the person you're already connected with. And that allows you to get to, a 2-for-1 deal. You're building that relationship with the person you already have, and you're getting exposed to potential new relationships as well. Again, this is being very deliberate. Sometimes people will go and just go jump and go everywhere and everything and everybody, and they burn themselves out. That's not what I'm saying you should do. I say, yes, keep track of all of those things and then figure out which ones are going to be the most beneficial to you, that have the most opportunity, that have the most potential, and pursue those. And you can always come back to something else and, schedule a coffee later with someone else, right? Because here's the reminder, these transitions are not overnight. These transitions, I've been working with people, and I used to say, okay, it'd be 3 to 6 months. These transitions are taking 6 to 12 months. And I don't say that to scare anybody, but it's the reality and it's the truth. And you may think, oh, that's so long. In reality, it is not. I have worked with clients who we get started, we get to that 3-month period, and we're like, oh my gosh. And then next we know, we've got another 3 months. That 6 months goes by fast. So you want to really be deliberate about your actions, be specific, so that when you look up 6 months, 9 months, 12 months later, you're like, what did I do? What did I get accomplished? And you have an answer that you like, right? It's not always going to be a direct, straight path, but you will be able to see movement that is relevant to what it is you want to do. There's nothing worse than having someone who says, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. And it's like, well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait because this may change, or I'm not quite ready to make that investment, or whatever. They're going to wait for whatever reason. Here's the thing. Time waits for no one. Remember that old saying, time waits for no one. It's going to march on, and you're going to look up 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and be really frustrated that you haven't gotten to where you thought you would be. And it's not because you didn't have the opportunities, it's because you didn't take advantage of them. Think about that. What are the opportunities you did not take advantage of because you weren't willing to jump in, make the sacrifice, and do the thing? Okay. So this is a really powerful, and it's a hard thing for some people to accept, but it's the truth. I've had that happen, right? Where I'm going along, I've got a few projects right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get some traction on this, right? But it's a matter of me saying, here's what I'm going to do specifically to do 1, 2, 3. If this is a project I'm really not concerned, but want to achieve, to take me to the next level of whatever goal that I have. All right. It's a process. Go back to last month. It's a part of the process. And it's recognizing that there are things that have to change, and that change begins with you. Okay. Now we just slipped into a little mindset stuff, but it's relevant here. Okay. So, and continue that conversation about what do you want to leverage or how do you leverage? You got to be deliberate. You have to be willing to combine your efforts and your interests. And oh my gosh, you have to be willing to get beyond the homogenous. And what do I mean? Like, you have to be willing to step outside that box of doing the same old thing every single day. You got to change it up. This is the time. This is the time. Change it up. Do something different. I cannot tell you how valuable that is. Even if it's one thing, you do one thing different than what you normally would. May make you uncomfortable. Good, great. That means you're outside your comfort zone, which means you are doing something new. You're doing something different. How can that bring value to you? Well, it opens up how you see things and how you pursue things. All right? You cannot now let me put my coffee cup down because this is important. You know that saying about birds of a feather? Well, birds of a feather may flock together, but if you are ready to get to a new level, that means you got to break with the flock that you're working with right now. Oh my gosh. Been there, done that. Okay? You have to be willing to do something different. That's not saying that you kick everybody you've had, relations with to the curb. I'm not saying that at all. But when you're trying to transition, you do have to focus your efforts and be deliberate, like we were saying, and intentional. And sometimes some of the folks that you're hanging out with and relying on are not going to be able to help you get to that next level. You're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to be willing to say, I can't go to X today because I'm going to go to Y. And, we'll talk about that in a second. We're talking about speaking up for yourself. Someone's going to challenge you or question you about it. That's none of their business. Okay. This is about the plan you've laid out for yourself in order to move you forward and to take action so that you can achieve the goals you've laid out for yourself. Okay. All right. And another way to leverage all of these new opportunities is to join new groups. This is a thing that's really powerful because it's a defined container. So for those of you who are always using like, oh, I'm not good, I can't go, just set up coffee or do a video chat with somebody I haven't met before. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm going to give that to you. Here's what you can do. You can take $75, $100, $200, whatever, how much it costs, and join one new group. This is a strategy I tell people all the time. It is the easiest way to put yourself out there in a controlled environment because you're not doing the work. Someone else has done all the work for you. They have created this group around this topic, around this industry. All you got to do is pay your dues, get an invitation or whatever, and show up. This is why I'm pretty hardcore sometimes. People are like, oh, I can't. I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, you have to make the decision that you're going to take some action because joining a new group, that is the easiest way to put yourself out there, to leverage new relationships and skills and all of that. Join one new group, go to the luncheons, attend the happy hours, follow up with an email with people. You would be surprised how powerful that can be with just one new group. So imagine if you just identify 2 or 3 and use that as your base and foundation for jumping off into new things and new opportunities. All right. These are the type of strategies that I work on very directly with clients because it's personalized to them. So yeah, I just gave that in general, but if you're going to be on the phone call with me, we're going to talk about what your interests are, what are the things you do, who are the people you hang out with, all of that. And then we're going to identify what some of those specific organizations, groups, skill levels, all of that. This is what happens when you create a strategic action plan that's aligned specifically to you. Okay? All right, that's my plug. Okay, last but not least, we're going to circle back around to that empowered action. Because as we were talking about all of these things, the challenge that comes up for people is the ability to speak up for yourself in your new pursuits. And this is rightfully can get difficult, not because it's hard in and of itself, but because when you're already going through transition, you already got a lot going on in your head about what it is you're doing, whether you should be doing it, how you should be doing it. Getting somebody in your head who's like, well, why are you doing that? And having to respond to that, that's like a whole other thing, right? And this comes up all the time with family, with friends, with coworkers and bosses, right? Let's say you're trying to make a shift in your current role or in the position or the organization that you are currently. And when you start asking to be able to go to certain, trainings that are slightly off from where you normally, and your boss is questioning it. Like, well, I would like to get some new skill sets. I think it'll be beneficial to my work here by doing X. And if they say no, fine. That's fine. Guess what you do next? You go pay for the training yourself and you take the time off to attend it. Yeah, I did just say that because I've done it. I have advised clients to do it. They do it and it is more powerful. You don't not do, I know that was a double negative. I'm so sorry. But you do not hold yourself back because someone else says no, and no, we're not going to pay for it. Well, guess what? You got your own funds. You find your own funds. You find a way. There, and people say, oh, I don't have. Do you know how many times I volunteered for a conference in order to get admission to it? That's why I am really hardcore on this when people are like, oh, I can't because, honey, don't say that to me because I will figure something out. Always. Okay? There's always a way. But you have to be willing to speak up for yourself. And it's not always like verbally, right? People are like, oh, but it's in your actions. So whether you're speaking up for yourself verbally or speaking up for yourself in your actions, I like that. Verbally or in your actions. Okay? That is really important because it's the thank you, but no thanks when it comes to taking that advice or not. And or you say nothing. You just go do what you need to do. Okay? Here is the key point. Resist the pressure to stay inside the box of your past. Resist. Getting to the next level of what you want to do professionally in your career, in a new business, in your existing business, requires you to move beyond the current box. And it gets uncomfortable and it gets a little scary and it feels a little risky. But the rewards on the other side of that are fantastic. If you stick to your guns, speak up for yourself, okay, and move ahead. That's it. That's what I got for today. Okay, so you can catch up on the other portions of this series either through, I think they should all still be on whichever platform you're watching this on, as well as the YouTube channel where all of those things are. So go, get ready to binge watch your coffee chats over the upcoming holidays. Okay. And let me know what your needs are. I'm really interested in how this plays out for you. What are your questions, issues, concerns that have come up? And then let's talk. Schedule a consult. I do 20-minute consults. There's no fee for that. And then figure out what it is you need next, because this is the ideal time to start laying that groundwork, to do a VIP day time frame so that you can be prepared for what's to come in the next 6-12 months. Whatever your time frame is for change, let's get it started today. Okay? Take care, talk soon, and have a fantastic week, everyone. Bye-bye.